So, hello, Cyberland. My name's Marlin. The channel's Old Fart Hacks. And what we're continuing with here today is making this stupid little bracket that will eventually allow me to set the height of the spindle on my mill or on my drill press and hold it a given height. This replaces a really cheap plastic clamp that they had there originally. Where is that cheap junk, piece of Chinese junk? Anyway, there was this cheap piece of plastic that was kind of formed a drill stop, and this works along with this bolt and clamps it from going up and down. What we're talking about here is the layout, and then this is what I've done to lay this out, and then we'll cut it. I'm using the original factory side here so I don't have to cut. And as you can see, I picked up an offset diameter here from the main hole. I laid out using a compass a hole over here, or part of this centered around this hole, and then this is running from the tangents. And so the next thing, of course, will be to cut this out using my handy dandy all-purpose jigsaw, because I don't got nothing better, which will leave me with a workable edge here and around here that I'll have to clean up with a file. But so I'll bring you back when I get that all set up and start doing that process, and we'll go from there. See you in a bit. And I'm still trying to come up with a way to clamp this so I can finish up this cut. I've been stuck on this. Stuck. I mean, really stuck. Stuck. Hey, there's an idea. Glue. If you're stuck, use glue. Hey, I happen to have this, which I've used before on another thing to glue magnets into my little XY table. And of course the cap here is glued on firmly. But I think, yes, I can get into it because the lower white cap is not glued on firmly yet. And let's see, what could well, there's the other half of the block of material I hacked this thing off of. Is there a way I can lay this on here so I can come in from the existing cut? Yeah, that gets me into the existing cut, and I can follow along and miss the other block. Cool. So, what do we got to do? Well, godliness is next to cleanliness, or some insane thing like that. A little bit of sanding there, and a little bit of sanding here. The area I'm going to stick that on is over here by the hole, so that's where we really sand. And wipe that off a little bit. And then, what is this? Acetone. Acetone, yes. I'll take a little dab of that and wipe this down. Yes. Yes. The smell is, look at the way that looks. Such a lovely thing. Anyway, so, and then we make sure this is all dried off. Glue. Now I need to turn on the light here. Let there be light. That's better. Okay. So let's see if this works out for me. This is a gel form. This will come off with heat from what I understand. And of course, I do have a source of heat, the old handy dandy ancient blowtorch. Okay, we got that on there like that. Then we kind of line this up in a way that the already cut portion is offside. Stick that on there like that. Give it a few seconds. Maybe set something on it to help put it in place. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls and other aardvarks, I'll be back in a few when I'm sure that's completely dried up. I'm going to be clamping it over onto my XY table that's sitting over there. At least I've got a bigger clamping surface here to work with clamps so I can put the thing on. And so anyway, I'll be back in a few. Okay, onward. You know, I had been stuck on this, but this thing's noisy. Do you guys really want to stand here or sit here and listen to me saw on this for a while? The glue is working great, so I'll just have to break that later. But I'm just going to cut this and go ahead and, you know, you don't really need to listen to this. I'll probably bring you back later. But I am going to record the whole thing for Well, slight problem with the glue. It failed. It broke. The cut is coming along horribly. The blade's still sharp on that thing. So I guess I'll glue it back up and try again. Bye for now. Okay, so we're through. I finally figured out where my problem was. It has to do with, of all things, chip clearance. The blade here clears back and forth a bit, but, and it's right, it will cut metal, and in fact it just did. But it's intended generally for cutting less than about half the stroke so you can kick the chips out. So the stroke here is shorter than the thickness of the metal. And so the net result is you don't get chips out. So I figured out how to cure that. And going through here, I just turned the saw back and forth to cut a wider channel and give a place for the chips to fall. And I let the chips fall where they may. At least I now have that chunk cut off. And I know what my problem was. The next thing I'll be doing is cleaning up this edge. It's a mess. And then I'm going to be cutting a slot in here. I still have to put the locking or the pin that controls up and down. But I need to cut in something to allow me to put in a screw so I can clamp this. I may just cut this on an angle here because I'll have enough room there. And then put in a screw right here on that angle. We'll see. Anyway, that's where we're at now. At least I'm getting down to the right piece. I mean, I'm slow, and I'm sorry. It's my nature. I'm slow by nature. At least that's what my mother said. You're slow by nature, Marlon. Anyway, this is pretty much it for this video. We'll come back as I set up for the next things.